Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. I really hate how this makes it sound like I have nasal problems. Anyhow, what's going on here? This is for beginners. This is a look at the draft. If you've bought the Mastery Pass or you might find yourself with a draft token. Looking at what we have here, I decided to do a Brothers War draft. And so since it was free, it seemed worthwhile. So with that in mind, since I do get to keep the cards, this is not a phantom draft. I kind of looked and see what was there, what's available. I'm going to go ahead and join. I now have to wait for 7 other people to join with me. Shouldn't take too long. We'll see. It depends on the time of the day that you're drafting. But we got a table ready. Now, what you can't see, I don't think shows up here. Maybe it does. Is I am drafting with the draft smith, getting a little bit of help here along the left-hand side of the screen, and I don't really think you can see it, but I'm getting suggestions for high synergy cards that are of value. So the first thing that I'm going to do is look. Now, I'm not sponsored by or have no affiliation with these folks, but I have found it to be helpful, and I do know that those people that are more professional at this than I am also use it. So I kind of feel like if you don't, you're falling behind. You're gonna find yourself at a disadvantage. I really kind of thought of it as cheating myself, but if everybody's cheating, then nobody's cheating, right? So I'm making my decisions also based on what cards are there, what rating the cards have, but I'm also looking at what cards I don't have in my collection. It helps keep track of that also, because I want to fill out my collection as best I can. I'm going to choose cards that I only have, or that I don't have more than, that aren't in the collection already, or that I need to add to it. So a couple of choices are based on that, but the majority of what you're seeing here is I'm going for the blue. Those are the high synergy cards. Those have some tricky possibilities, and I'm gonna probably put this video up separate from the rest of it. I went on to play several games with this deck that I'm drafting right now. And if you're interested, I can always put that up later, but just for an example of what you're going to do, what you look for, and how this works, is I'm putting this up. So it's going to be a brief video for that. Again, looking here, it's going to also compensate. This is the draft helper. Also compensates based on the cards that you have already picked. It helps you narrow it down. At the end of it, you will be given the choice of 3 different potential decks to draft. And at this point, you can see I'm pretty well locked into the blue cards. And at this point, I'm looking for artifacts that are missing from my collection. And so trying to do a single color is going to leave you open and vulnerable to attacks from other colors. Magic is relatively balanced, though certain cards are a lot of blue in these packs. I guess everybody else is drafting out the reds and greens and blacks. At any rate, I'm going to take my first red card here, and I'm getting down to the dregs of what's there. But you can see I'm keeping my cost. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Keeping my cost low. I'm starting to fill out the 3s and 4s, but you can see on the lower left-hand side of the screen where the deck is, those 4 little columns, they let you know how many 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, and 4 drops you have. Pretty high on the 2 and 3 drops. That's a card that I know that I need for later on, just to fill out my decks. Alright, artifacts, so I won't be mana screwed. And I probably will have to choose some other colors here, but I'm going to lean heavily into that blue. And And you can see which way the packs are going and which way the deal is going up here on the left and right corners of the screen. I really like that Portal to Phyrexia. I actually hate it because it's used against me regularly, but I'm happy to get my own copy of it now. One of the things you can do that's going to help fill out your collection and help you find these cards, but I wouldn't play drafts often. Let's stick with blue. I wouldn't play drafts often until you have a feel for the game. I think I would probably stick with the Jumpstart events and playing against other people and playing those pre-constructed decks that they've given you, and then changing those out 1 or 2 cards at a time, building up your confidence, learning the mechanics of the game. That black card is probably going to be dead, but I can use that later on. So something else that you can do is simply draft for rares. If you're not overly concerned, again, this was a free token for me to draft, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, so you can just draft for rares. Just go in there and take the rare cards, and if you're not worried about winning the game, just fill out your collection that way. Probably not the best way to do it, but it is a way to do it. All right. Yeah. Oh, man. What to do? I will... Yeah. Kind of like that prototype mechanic in the game this time. I'm liking that so far. So once I've made my selections, once I've got all the decks, all the cards back and forth here, starting to do, I got it. Probably what we're going to wind up with here is an Is It deck. Is It being the colors red and blue combined. See if we can start picking up the speed here. Maybe draft a little faster here. Okay. I'm going to wind up with some green cards. I'm going to wind up with some cards that I don't need. But in this draft, we're going to get just a 40-card deck. Normally our decks are 60 cards each. This is going to be a 40 card for the draft. And somebody's really slow because this is double speed. Can't be that difficult. You got to have an idea of what's... There we go. All right. Yeah, at this point, we need to... we can get multiples. That's something else, too, that's different in a draft from a standard game. Standard game, you can only have maximum of 4 of a card. In draft, if you can wind up with multiples, you can play them. It's fine. It's the only time you're going to be playing 5 or 6 of a card. Well, maybe not the only time. There are a few cards that actually break the rules and tell you that you can have unlimited copies in a deck. Alright, let's make sure my screen is right. Okay. Howling Mind, love that card. Awesome card. I think I just want that just because for nostalgia's sake. And can't believe, are we done yet? No, we've got a little ways yet to go. Alright. Come on. At this point, I probably have enough cards to make a good deck, but you can see the timer is starting to run out. If I don't make a selection within those last few seconds, they will make a selection for you. So be ready to go. Yeah, come on. And go. And yeah. Again, we've kind of, you can see the curve is smoothed out again in the lower left-hand side. You can see lots of 2-drops. Then it drops off at 3, then 4, 5, and so on. Again, this is going to be a fast-paced game, so you want low casting cost creatures, and that's why folks generally do better in drafts with the smaller, faster cards. They can be quick. Alright, we're picking up speed. There we go. Now, we're down to the last card. Very simple from this point. I have 3 options on the screen that are before me. I've chosen the one that I'm going to make. Unfortunately, you can't see it. Once you've made that choice, though, you easily just get rid of the cards. There will be a green check or a red check. You get rid of the red checks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you create your deck. Once you have your land, you are ready to play. All right.